I started feeling like just a little bit of a pain. The radiologist says this is most likely lymph. There isn't really anything to do except watch it. And all along the way, you kind of feel like you're overreacting, you're being selfish or, or annoying or burdening people with these concerns. And so you have this self-doubt. And then you have this other part of you that is like, keep going, keep going. So I said to him, what if it's not lymph? The diagnosis was nothing short of just terrifying. Listen to your gut. Nobody knows you better than you. Nobody. My name is Holly. I'm in Rexburg, Idaho. That's where I live. I've lived here most of my life. So I have 3 daughters. My whole world is being able to hang out with my family and my friends. In 2021, I started feeling like just a little bit of a pain. Nothing horrible, just something's different in my right side of my jaw. So I started Googling symptoms like pain in the jaw. And the first thing that comes up is TMJ. And I'm like, well, it's time to go to the dentist anyway. So the dentist looks, and kind of feels around. And he's like, well, that's not exactly TMJ is going to be more over here. You're pointing back here. I'm living life, going to work. And it's just there. It's there. And there's just kind of a nagging thing in me that was like, go get this checked again. So the doctor comes in and they had done some more blood work as well. He's like, you have no autoimmune disease. And I said, okay, I understand that, but there's something. And he goes, well, why don't you go to a maxillofacial expert surgeon? This is over months and weeks and months. And I explained to him the pain, and he goes, well, let's do an MRI. And it comes back that there is a 0.5 millimeter mass in my parotid gland. And he says, the radiologist says this is most likely lymph. It's just a lymph node. It's very common to have lymph nodes in your salivary glands. He goes, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We'll do another MRI in a year, and we'll see if anything's changed. And so I went home, and I was like, I am not okay with this. And I couldn't just be on, it'll be fine. I couldn't rest. I couldn't, because I can feel it. I'm very aware of what's happening in my body. So I said to him, and I almost started to cry, and I said, is there anything else that you can tell me? What if it's not lymph? And he goes, well, yeah, you can do a needle biopsy. And a needle biopsy will tell you exactly what it is. And I'm like, good, I want to do that. They do an ultrasound of the face to try and find what they saw on the MRI. And sure enough, you can see a little round spot. And he goes, oh, there it is. And so I'm completely awake, and they take a big needle, and they go in. And he says, I think I got it. He goes, it's really hard to tell. We get the pathology report, and I email it to my doctor that I work for, a friend, and I read it, and it says Adenoid Cystic Carcinoma. And I've never heard of that. I don't know what any of those words means except carcinoma. And I Google it, and I just immediately start crying. And the doctor that I work for, he comes in the office, and he looks like he's seen a ghost, and it has a little slide of the biopsy of the cells of adenoid cystic carcinoma that says sometimes it's misdiagnosed as something else, but this definitely is adenoid cystic carcinoma. This type of cancer, come to find out, it travels on the nerves, and it's like a silent killer. So if there's no, it shows up in people's bodies in other places. And so you have to make sure, if you've got that surgery, that there's no trace of cancer in any of the nerve margin around the tissue. My tumor was 0.5 millimeters. The size of it is very good, meaning hopefully it hasn't spread anywhere else. We have an oncologist here in our town that is brilliant, a wonderful, wonderful doctor. Referred me to him, and he said, yeah, we need to go in and remove the tumor, and we'll have to remove your parotid gland. And if it's spread, it's going to also, we're going to have to remove the facial nerve. My reaction was just shock and sadness, and like, I'm not ready for this. I have so much more I want to do. Yeah, I love my life. This is happening to me. The diagnosis was nothing short of just terrifying. I go in for the surgery, and it's not very long, maybe like 3 hours. And then when I wake up, obviously I want to know, did they get it? Did they get it? And the doctors came in. There was like 2 ENTs, and they said, here's some pictures. We saw some little bumps. We think this is it, but we're going to send it to pathology. And there's no evidence of adenoid cystic carcinoma in any of that tissue. My husband and I, we said to the doctor, can we have an ultrasound? And this is just hours after this first surgery. Can we do another ultrasound and see if we can see what it looked like on the needle biopsy? Because it was plain as day. And boom, there it is. It jumps out just like on the needle biopsy that there's that round tumor. And I had just gone through this like excruciating surgery. So I call my doctor, I have his number, and this is at night. And I said, we're in the ultrasound room. We're looking at the tumor. It's plain as day, just like it was. And she goes, the doctor said, does Joe, my husband, does he have a Sharpie? And we asked the tech, and she goes, I think there's one in the drawer. So he said, have her hold the ultrasound wand on your face where it is, and mark with the Sharpie on your face. And they found a Sharpie where the tumor was. And we'll meet you up there in a few hours. This surgery was maybe like an hour and a half. And I wake up, and everyone is so excited to show me the little blue towel with a perfectly round like tumor on the cloth. And again, I'm able to move my face, and the margins were perfectly clear. There's so many people out there that have to be their own best advocate. And that was me. Who knows? Maybe if I would have just ignored it and gone with advice, that I wouldn't be so lucky to not have to have radiation. I have become more like, I'm not invincible. I'm not going to live forever. And I know that it could come back anytime. And so I enjoy life more. For a brief period of time, maybe 2 weeks, I thought maybe this was my last few years. And that is eye-opening, and just makes you appreciate every moment. If you have 50 years left, or if you have 5, or if you have, months, don't give up hope, and spend those moments with those you love, because life is short no matter the length of time. There's never enough time.